Okay, we are continuing The Little Prince. We are up to chapter 8. I soon learned more about this flower. On the Little Prince's planet, there had always been very simple flowers with a single row of petals which took up very little space and were no bother. They would appear one morning in the grass and then fade the same evening. But this flower had sprouted one day from a seed that had blown in from who knows where, and the little prince had kept a close eye on the little shoot, which was different from the other shoots. It might have been a new type of baobab, but the shrub soon stopped growing and began to produce a flower. Watching the development of a huge bud, the little prince had a feeling that something miraculous was going to happen. But the flower took forever preening herself in the sanctuary of her green room. She chose her colours with care. She dressed slowly, adjusting her petals one by one. She did not want to appear all crumpled like a poppy. She only wanted to reveal herself in the full bloom of her beauty. Oh yes, she was very vain. Her mysterious preparations lasted days and days, and then one morning, just as the sun was rising, she showed herself. And the flower, who had made such scrupulous preparations, yawned and said, "I've only just woken up. Forgive me, my hair's still a mess." The little prince was unable to hide his admiration. "You're so beautiful." "I am, aren't I?" replied the flower softly, "and I was born at the same time as the sun." The little prince rightly guessed that she was not exactly modest, but she was lovely to behold. "It's breakfast time, I think," she said, adding, "Would you kindly spare a thought for me?" And all ashamed, the little prince went off to find a watering can, filled it with cool water, and poured it for the flower. She soon began to plague him with her rather prickly vanity. For example, one day, speaking about her 4 thorns, she said to the little prince, "Let the tigers come with their claws." "There aren't any tigers on my planet," protested the little prince. "And anyway, tigers don't eat grass." "I'm not grass," replied the flower softly. "I'm sorry. I'm not at all afraid of tigers, but I can't stand drafts." "You wouldn't have a screen, would you?" "Can't stand drafts? That's bad luck for plant," thought the little prince. "This flower is a complicated creature." "All right, you need to put me under a glass dome. It's very cold on your planet. It's poorly equipped, where I come from." But she stopped before she reached the end of her sentence. She had come as a seed. She could not have known anything of other worlds. Embarrassed at having been caught telling such a childish fib, she coughed a couple of times to make the little prince feel bad. "What about that screen?" "I was about to get it, but you were talking to me." Then she forced a cough again to make him feel sorry. And so, although he loved her and was eager to please her, the little prince soon grew wary of her. Her unkind words had wounded him and made him very unhappy. "I shouldn't have listened to her," he confided to me one day. "You should never listen to flowers. You should gaze at them and smell them. Mine perfumed the air of my planet, but I wasn't able to enjoy it. Her talk of claws, which so annoyed me, should have made me feel sorry for her." And he told me I got it all wrong. I should have judged her by her actions, not her words. She filled my life with fragrance and light. I should never have run away. I should have realized that deep down she cared, despite her ridiculous tricks. Flowers are so contrary, but I was too young to know how to love her. Chapter 9. I think he latched on to a flight of migrating birds to make his escape. One morning, on the morning of his departure, he put his planet in good order. He carefully chimney swept the active volcanoes. There were 2 active volcanoes, which were very useful for cooking breakfast in the morning. There was also one extinct volcano, but, as he used to say, you never know, and so he chimney swept the extinct volcanoes too. If volcanoes are properly swept, they burn slowly and steadily, without erupting. Volcanic eruptions are like chimney fires. Of course, here on Earth, they are not tall enough to chimney sweep out volcanoes. That is why they give us so much trouble. Feeling slightly wistful, the little prince also pulled up the last baobab shoots. He thought he would never return, but that morning he found all those familiar chores very enjoyable. And when he watered the flower for the last time and was about to put her under her protective dome, he found himself on the verge of tears. "Goodbye," he said to the flower, but she did not reply. "Goodbye," he repeated. The flower coughed, but it was not because of her cold. "I've been stupid," she said at last. "Please forgive me. Try to be happy." He was surprised that she was not complaining. He stood there holding the dome, completely confused. He could not understand her calm gentleness. "Yes, I love you," said the flower. "You had no idea, and that was my fault. Never mind. But you've been as stupid as me. Try to be happy. Leave that dome where it is. I don't want it any more." "What about the wind?" "My cold isn't that bad. The cool night air will do me good. I am a flower." "What about the animals?" "I'm going to have to cope with a few caterpillars if I want to see butterflies. I've heard they're so beautiful. Otherwise, who'll visit me? You'll be far away. As for big beasts, I'm not scared. I've got my claws." And she innocently bared her 4 thorns. Then she added, "Stop hanging around. You're getting on my nerves. You've made up your mind, so go." For she didn't want him to see her cry. She was such a proud flower. He carefully chimney swept the active volcano.